Packers, Niners. I would say that went exactly the way you'd expect it to go. They did go ahead with that game last night despite COVID. And the game did go pretty much the way you would expect it to go when Aaron Rodgers, Davante Adams, and company get to face a decimated 49er defense. 34-17, and that score makes it seem a lot closer than it actually was, thanks to a touchdown with 4 seconds left. It really didn't matter to the game, but I'm sure mattered to some people. But to call that a game, to call it a game, would be inaccurate. What that was a glorified scrimmage, an organized scrimmage. That was practically a walkthrough for the Packers. They could have been out there in shells, and it still would not have been competitive. It got so out of hand that the announcers spent a chunk of the fourth quarter looking to talk about anything except what they were seeing down on the field, including the comedic career of John Lovitz. That's how bad things got. Talking about Lovitz was more compelling to them than what they were seeing on the field. If that game had gone any longer, Joe and Troy would have been snapping each other. Anything except talking about what they were seeing down on the field. So I'm going to more or less ignore the 49ers in this take, and only out of respect. They're banged the hell up. They just aren't themselves. That's not that team. They had a team of backups last night, and they look like it, and they played like it. But that'll happen when you have over $80 million worth of cap space on injured reserve. No one is next man upping that bleep. Like when you think of the 49ers offense, you don't think of Nick Mullins throwing to Richie James. But we got a whole lot of that last night. A lot of it. And I'll say this about the Niners. I am impressed. I am always impressed with the way they battle, with the way they fight, no matter what. No matter who's out there, no matter what they have or don't have, they always battle. It just wasn't enough last night. But just because the Packers carved up a JV team does not mean that a statement was not made last night. There was a statement made last night, both on and off the field. It was just a better pass and a better catch. Man, sometimes Aaron is so good. He's so good, he's actually perfect. Not my words, but Davante's. He was almost so perfect where it threw me off. And even though the Niners were busted up defensively, that does not mean that Davante did not make a statement of his own. 10 receptions, 173 yards, and a touchdown. That was on the field. Off the field, he was asked, "Are you now the best receiver in the game?" Don't get it twisted. This was not a guy ripping off his helmet, running his mouth, and threatening to fight anybody who didn't agree. Hell yeah, he's confident. But he was measured and respectful in how he said it. He's right. It is fair to say that. Now, I'm not going to waste anybody's time by going with some contrived, manufactured, hot take, bullcrap discussion over who's the man, Davante or DeAndre or Julio or Michael. But I am here to say, as tired and beaten down as the phrase in the conversation is, if you're talking about the best receiver in the league, you better be mentioning Davante Adams. He better be, quote, in the conversation. In fact, you might even start the conversation with this guy. Because when it comes to this guy and how good he is, people have been sleeping on him for way too long. Maybe it's because he didn't go to Clemson or Bama or Ohio State like the others who get that kind of run. Maybe it's because he's a Fresno State guy. Maybe it's because he was a second-round pick. Whatever the reason is, you're running out of reasons to not talk about him as arguably the best receiver in the game. And I'm not sure there's a better quarterback to receiver connection right now than Rodgers to Adams. All right, so consider the following facts. According to the Elias Sports Bureau, Adams is the first player with 3 games of at least 10 catches and 150 yards in his team's first 8 games of the season. Here's another one. He's the second player in NFL history to have 3 games of 10 receptions and 150 yards and a touchdown in the same season. The other guy to do it, Megatron. And we're only at the halfway point of the season. That's the kind of company that Adams is keeping right now. Calvin Johnson level stuff. And the other thing about those 2 stats, you know the part about how he's done this in the first 8 games of the year? He hasn't. He missed 2 games. The Packers have played 8 games. Adams has played 6, and he already has 3 games of 10 receptions and 150 yards in 6 games. What that means is every other time this guy steps on the field, he's torching a defense for 10 receptions and 150-plus yards. There's a reason why Mike Zimmer dedicated his defense to stopping Davante Adams on Sunday. That reason? This dude's good, really good. And there's a reason why Adams still had 3 touchdowns in that same game, a game where the defense was designed to take him away and eliminate him. Reason? He's that good. And speaking of that good, Rodgers' second TD of the game was just as nice as the first. The easiest. Did you see the fake from Aaron on that? Did you see how smooth, how effortless, how sweet that was? And then how wide ass open Mercedes Lewis was in the end zone. You might never see a 1-yard pass that looks any better than that. That's how good that was. And the bomb to MVS before halftime was not bad either. MVS. WAO. Wide ass open. What a clinic. A complete and total offensive clinic. And Green Bay did whatever they wanted. Whenever they wanted. But no, as dominant as they were, that was not payback for the NFC Championship game. Payback for who? Payback against what? That was not the same 49ers team that played. Nowhere near it. You know what that'd be like? That'd be like beating up on the Jets for something the Steelers did. So let's be clear. The Packers beat what's left of the Niners 34-17 last night against a team right now that is anything but great. You can only play and beat who and what is in front of you. And the Packers beat what was left of the Niners senseless. And the Packers were missing guys due to COVID. But they went out on the road. They handled their business in a really crisp, really sharp way. That was a professional effort. Just don't try to make that out to be revenge or anything like that. Always great to get a win. Impressive to get it the way that they did, under the circumstances that they did. But the statement that was made last night was not about last year. What I'm trying to say is I'm giving the 49ers some credit. Man, what the hell could they do? They didn't have anybody. That was not a statement about last year. But if you want a statement, the statement was about maybe the best receiver in the game, Davante Adams. You can talk about that. And if you're talking about Aaron Rodgers, he is doing things at this advanced age that he has never done before, and I'm going to argue that he's never looked better. If you're looking for statements, there are a couple right there. Who is the best receiver in the game? I don't know, but you better start that conversation with Davante Adams. Aaron Rodgers has never looked better than he looks right now. 1-800-636-8686. Davante saying, I am the best. And again, that's not a guy who in the moment, heat of the moment, emotionally ripped his helmet off his head and screamed that into a camera. He was very measured about it.